The Gemara, the Talmud, talks about shadim, evil spirits, talks about the evil eye. And the question is, what do they mean by that? After all, in the Torah itself, when Bilam is sent to curse the Jewish people, he himself says, Ki lo nachash bi'Yakov v'lo kesem bi'Yisrael, that there is no such thing as magic or witchcraft having an impact on the Jewish people. In which case, we have to understand what we nowadays mean by this. There are three different ways of understanding what the Gemara means by spirits and evil eyes and such like. One is to say times were different then, that the forces of good were so powerful that there were additional forces of evil to counterbalance it. There's another position, which Rambam, Maimonides, takes, to the effect that people believed it. And if people believed it, you couldn't dissuade them of this primitive, simple belief. And so the Gemara relates to those people who believed it, but it didn't mean that intelligent people had to believe it or that they existed. Another possibility is to say that this was how people understood things in those days that we now understand differently. We understand how friction works, how static electricity works. In those days, they explained it all in terms of spirits tugging at one's clothes or doing things like that. And the whole notion of spirits was to explain those phenomena that at that stage they didn't have the scientific explanations for that we do today. But there's another way of looking at this whole issue, and it's this. Let me give you an analogy. Assume there's a tall, big office building and you want to have a conversation with the boss, the managing director. One way is to go into the front door, through security, up to the front desk, and they will put you in touch. They'll call up to the office of the boss, and a private secretary will give you permission, maybe, to come in, go up the elevator, come up to the office. Then you'll be passed through the private secretary into an inner secretary, and finally you'll get through to the boss. The other way is to just walk into the door, take the elevator, go straight up, and walk into the boss's office. Relationship with God and with the world is very much like that. The Torah tells us that every one of us can have this direct relationship with God. We can walk straight in whenever we want to. It's just up to us as to whether we develop this relationship. If we don't make the effort to develop the relationship, there's no relationship. And as my father always used to tell me, if you're frightened of something, just say the Shema. If you're frightened of anything, connect directly to God, who is the master of everything, and none of these other things need bother you or trouble you. You needn't worry about superstition, or about bad luck, or about the evil eye, or about curses, or anything like that, because you have this direct line to God. Some people need to find their way there, can't get there by themselves. Maybe they're not strong enough to climb the stairs. Maybe they need other people to help them on the way. And in order to help them on the way, they use different tricks, different placebos to get them to where they want to get. But in essence, from a Jewish point of view, one needs to have absolutely no fear of these spirits, of the evil eye, or of curses. If one's done something wrong, one has to put it right, and one puts it right with God. And if you feel other people are trying to make life tough for you, as very often happens, other people want to interfere, you have to do your best to be as good as possible and as spiritual as possible. And this way you create a protective aura around you. In that situation, you have nothing to fear except fear itself. God is my strength, my support, as we say in the book of Psalms, and that's how it should be. You don't need to fear anything else, other, as I say, than fear itself. That doesn't mean to say that bad things might not happen to you. They could happen to you for all kinds of reasons. A drunk driver coming in the other direction. You yourself slip. Or you do something wrong that causes other people not to respond to you. But even then, you can put it right by putting your trust and faith in God. How God decides to act, that's the Almighty's prerogative. You have to do your bit by being a good person. Have a nice day.